To be joined shortly by attorney and founder of Women's Justice Foundation, Magdalene Moonsamy. We're talking about gender-based violence, and this is the gender-based violence bill, the council bill, which is due to be introduced in the parliament. Magdalene, good morning to you, and welcome to the show.
Assalamu alaikum and thank you for having me.
Yes, walaikum salam. Wonderful that you are able to join us this morning. Now, Magdalene, let's talk about this bill. And obviously, it lays out the legal framework for the establishment of the National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide. Now, this is expected to be introduced in Parliament within the financial year.
Yeah, this is correct. I think the first thing is that there's been a couple of amendments in terms of the criminal amendments in general with respect to domestic violence as well as harassment. Because what you find in a lot of instances, I just hope though that these amendments are able to help assist the holistic process because the Gender-Based Violence Council bill simply just sets up the council. It sets up an advisory panel, and that advisory panel is then run by a board as a council, and then that would then be having been led. It's almost like setting up a business infrastructure, which is requiring for there to be a multi-sectoral intervention or interaction, both at the level of the panel and then also at the level of the board. Now, my concern about it is not to be a person who's looking firstly at what could be the bad, but we have a ministry. We've had a ministry in the past. A ministry was dissolved. It became a desk in the presidency. Now I think it's still a desk in the presidency in the guise of a ministry. My concern, I think, is that what we have seen, and not only since 2018, but if you take the quarterly report from April to June 2021, there was an increase of by 50% of violence against women. We had more in that period alone. We had almost 10,000, more than 10,000 more rapes, just rapes, minus the issues of femicide and other factors. And I feel that society has the biggest role to play because the setting up of structures and the making sure that there are structures in place when there is no well-trained police infrastructure, it doesn't assist the women and children of this country. We saw what happened during the unrest. The police arms were tied. We saw what has transpired. They do not have fuel in their vehicles. They do not have sufficient vehicles. And yet we are expecting to establish more structures. The courts are under pressure, but the criminal justice system in its entirety has a problem. So I say that, look, if the council is there to be an oversight function, which it cannot serve over all the multiple stakeholders, being civil society, being government, being, holding them accountable. That's a massive task. It's a massive task. Whether it is achievable or not, I think society needs to start to play an active role in terms of being the advisory body of the state and of government.
Yes, Magdalene, in fact, we can talk about this till the cows come home because we've
Yes.
seen so much discussion taking place. We've seen the president, we've seen State of the Nation address talking about gender-based violence. And as you mentioned, we can have all the structures, we can have all the policies in the world, but the key issue is to address the problem at the root and to eliminate and eradicate this problem right at the root. And that is the reason why you are talking about society, but you're also talking about all the other support structures like the justice system, like the policing system, if we want to get rid of gender-based violence.
Yes, that is correct. The issue of gender-based violence lies right at the heart of our people in our communities. Because one of the things that we need to do is to first hold our police in our communities accountable for not effecting their responsibilities. Secondly, it is to hold each other in our communities accountable for not being able to respect or protect the rights of women and children. And I believe that, yes, the Ministry of Police, the commissioners, and we do see what is happening, in terms of the state infrastructure. You have a deputy commissioner of police who's being suspended. How is this possible? And we expect that by creating councils and creating further structures, that is going to now become the intervening method. How is that going to happen? Because those people cannot go out and effect a civilian arrest. They're not going to have the capacity. So for me, I believe the most important thing is that we need to be able to hold each and every structure accountable, including the police, including those in our communities, to say, look, if then this GBV counter bill comes into effect, and there's going to be more people with more positions, because for me, that's what it is implying. More positions, more people, we don't want to make accusations prematurely about patronage and, abusing of resources, but we need to hold our systems accountable at all times. Because for me, if the police are unable to take the responsibility over their actions, and we don't have the right infrastructure in place in our communities for support for these women and children, then we will have a challenge.
Well, Magdalene, thank you very much for that and the update, for coming on and talking to us this morning here on News and Views on Salam Media. We wish you all the best. Please take care of yourself.
Juma Mubarak, thank you so much.
Magdalene Moonsamy joining us this morning, and with that, the time is just headed 9:46. We're going to go for a quick break. We come back, we'll be joined by Abir Zayad out of Al-Quds, and we're talking about a Palestinian man who resists a self-demolition of his home in Jerusalem.